Episode 85 of the View from Jamestown podcast edition is our Christmas and January episode, our December and January 2023 combo episode. We talk all things about the recent Compounders Conference, about what's happening with some specific downstream industries, a potential massive combination of two powerhouses in the chemical distribution industry. We have a logistics update from our partner at the Logistix Company, and obviously start talking about trade shows for 2023. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 85, and this is our Christmas and January, December/January 2023 episode. We got the full crew here kicking off the new year in our snazzy new sweatshirts.
Yes.
From left to right, we have TCC President Robb Roach, VP of Sales and Marketing AJ Petrarca, Inside Sales Manager Nicole Greenberg, and Latin American Operations Manager Javier Fernandez. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Jinx.
Merry Christmas if you say that. So
Oh,
politically correct these days.
yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
All these snazzy sweatshirts we got going on here. What do you think, Javi?
I love them. I love them. I mean, they have my face.
They do. They have
Who's
a.
got the Zach? You zooming in on Nicole here. Who's got the zoom lens?
So we have a great graphic of Javi's face that actually scans a QR code to his WhatsApp. How cool is that? We always joke. Javi says WhatsApp me. So we figured why not put it on a sweatshirt, and it's scannable. It's awesome.
It
So
works.
Really
It
does
actually
work.
works.
It does.
So
we'll,
are we going to break this out at a trade show, or when are we gonna be able to
absolutely.
scan
I
these?
mean, why
Yeah.
not? Like, hey, what better time than the present?
Why not? Why not? What's
Yep.
on me?
So yeah, just get us into the holiday spirit a little bit, and remind us that Javi's always available.
And it really does work. If you want the QR code, we'll put it like here. You put the QR code right about there. You can scan it and send Javi a WhatsApp just to prove that it works.
I'm always available anytime. I mean, I sleep sometimes, but I'm always available.
You're getting some rogue WhatsApp messages.
What's on me?
Apologies in advance for that. But yeah, but with travel and stuff going on late December, we ended up pushing this to the first week of January. So we have a little combo December, January episode. Been a lot going on last couple weeks. Some trade shows and travel, both personally and
The World Cup. Don't forget.
don't forget the World Cup.
Don't forget the
How
World
about-
Cup.
Yeah.
You want to give a little summary of the World Cup? Well,
No, Argentina won. Messi won, and I was very happy to see that.
we were very happy.
I was very happy.
So happy you missed your flight.
So happy I missed my flight. That's another story, but I was very, that's for the February podcast. I'll give you the notice, the short story. But I was so happy about it that watching the PKs, I missed my flight. So, but okay, but Messi won, so I was happy. I got to my destination 24 hours later, but I was on a standby and. It was messy. It was messy.
But all's well that ends well, right?
Yeah, it was good. It was worth it.
You and your wife got split up and you finally made it, which was probably good news because if you had to sit next to each other for 3 hours, she
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have been too pumped with you.
No, not at all.
And Nicole officiated her first wedding. in
I
Jersey.
did. Yep, for my lovely sister and her now husband. So congrats to the Pazes. And I also met my nephew. They have a 1-month-old. So little baby Mason, got to finally meet him, and yeah, so lots of great stuff to round out 2022 and ring in 2023 with.
Yep. I was pretty much local. You were pretty much local. Rob, I think you were in Block for a little bit.
In Block Island for a little bit. Yeah, that was after Christmas, but yeah, mainly local. Yeah, it was good.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah,
Um,
after we got over the whole COVID outbreak or
Yeah.
whatever. Which, there was a lot of travel. There was some stuff going on, but we also everybody had something. It seemed like in December, but
and going back even a couple weeks before that, obviously we were in DC. We haven't had an episode since we were in DC, but the Compounders Conference was a good couple days down there.
yeah, it was really cool. DC was fun, and all the presentations were really interesting. It was a good show and a good turnout. Probably where I picked up COVID.
Unfortunately, so.
Especially DC in December isn't necessarily one of the hot spots that people want to jump to, but given that too,
I think it was that first night where we were in like a 20 by 20 room with like 150 people. I was like, oh my God. But other than that, no, the presentations were really interesting, and it was good to see the amount of people there that in attendance. It was quite a big attendance for just before Christmas.
Yeah, very much so.
Yep.
So I guess just talking in general, just over the last couple months, stuff that we learned from the Compounders Conference, talking to people. I mean, how's stuff going in general? I think November and December are normally slower months and probably maybe exacerbated a bit by just kind of everything that's been going on and stuff really being slow in Q4. But how things go overall November, December?
Slow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yep.
weird. Like
Yep.
things are still expensive when a lot of folks expect the prices to be coming back down. It's just I don't know. It's just everything's weird right now. It seems like things are definitely picking up in January so far. Only a couple work days into it, but it seems busier than November and December so far. But we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, actually last night looked up the definition of recession, and it's 2 quarters in a row of decline in trade and decline. It's usually a factor of GDP. My conclusion is we're in a recession. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've been in a recession since July. Obviously, Russia's in a recession since the beginning of last year because of, all of the, Western European and American, sanctions. And
Yep.
They have no revenue from oil. They have no revenue from gas. Western Europe, same thing. They've been in a recession since early last year. China, 2-3 years of recession now at this point with their COVID policy and their basically shutting down of the whole country. We're in a global recession, so it's sort of like, I was just like, why is everybody always arguing of when is a recession coming? Usually they don't say there's a recession until we've had one.
Right.
We had one. I mean, we saw it starting in July, and AJ's right. It's been weird. It's been just amazing demand to flat, to almost none, to high priced inventory, to high cost still, and now we're hopefully going to, I think we're, to AJ's point, I think we're going to be in recovery here. I think there's going to be some increased demand, and I think things will get better from here, hopefully.
Yeah. That was one of the notes I had down from the Compounders Conference. They usually end the show with plastics chief economist, who always does a good job on kind of a general overview of the industry. And his kind of 2 cents was stuff's still going to grow. I mean, it might be lower growth. Maybe we've had 3, 4, 5% growth the last couple of years, but it's still going to grow. I think he said 0.5% or 1% per quarter. So things are going to grow. It's maybe a slower rate, but it's not like things are minus 8%. Like I think trying to grab headlines and clickbait and all that good stuff. People like to talk about recession and doom and gloom, but the reality is things are okay. I mean,
Right.
based on the numbers. So that was an interesting kind of perspective and reeling stuff back in a little bit.
They're okay for us. And therefore we're sort of, a shining light in the world. And now we're seeing like massive amounts of offers from Asia for really low prices, which, everybody's sort of speculating that's going to dry up once China boosts things and demand picks back up. But, we definitely saw that in the fourth quarter. I mean, we were calling it in July. We said the fourth quarter is going to be ridiculous. And it was, but it wasn't as bad as we thought, not by all means. It was not that bad.
Yep.
So
Yeah, the import thing seems interesting. We were just talking about it, getting prices on things that we normally sell here. There's a lot of interest in importing product because the U.S. seems to be doing better than a lot of other places in the world. So there's a lot of abroad production that wants to place material here because there's demand for it. And
the demand still is, the demand's still there. So people are looking to place it here. The U.S. still strong. So they're looking to place material here.
Yeah, kind of across a bunch of products, it seems.
Yeah, from all over the world.
And despite the World Cup win in Argentina, Latin America is a bit of a mess right now. With Peru, especially your home, is in a lot of turmoil.
Yeah, it is sad what's going on in Peru. Amongst a lot of the governments are not doing well in Latin America, so it's sad. It's sad to see.
Yeah. How are things, I guess, in Mexico and other customers or suppliers in Latin America? Have you been talking about?
They're in holiday. They're in holiday.
Of course they are.
How long does their holiday typically last?
It depends. Like some went back on January 3rd, so that's yesterday. On some coming back on the 9th. So they take a 2-week holiday. So it's
I think the question is, when do they work?
Yeah, right.
When are work days?
Yeah.
So I think Brazil is still in holiday, and then they have a huge holiday in February, which is Carnival. So it's Brazil is they like their holidays.
They do it right.
The holiday right now is just New Year's holiday. Like they just do
New
it
Year's.
long.
Yeah. Venezuela's also in holiday, and not many people are working, but they're coming back slowly, trickle it down. But yeah. So, but they placed their orders before they left, so they have material incoming. It's 8 weeks out. So when they come, the material's at the port.
So Brazil, Venezuela, the Fernandez household, all three are out till next week.
I was in Colombia for 2 weeks, so I was part of the group. So
how have things been? So you said people are placing orders, obviously pre-holidays.
Pre-holidays,
stuff been okay?
November, they were placing orders for January arrival. So yeah. So things have been okay.
So they're up on planning at least.
Oh, yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah. They used to import, so they're used to the long lead times, and they plan. They're good planners.
Are you seeing a lot of like competition with places like we are in the U.S. with people just looking to place material there?
Yes, from other places that are not common. They're like dumping material.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, other places that are not usually in Latin America now they're entering, and it's not a big market, so it's a lot of competition for a small piece of business.
Yeah. It's amazing how people envision it as a big market. You know?
Yeah, and it's not.
No,
it's not.
Very small.
It's still very small. Like Central America there's nothing there.
Yep.
Colombia is small. Peru is very small. Ecuador is very small. So the two working horses are Mexico and Brazil. Those are the two main. And it depends on which industry you look at it. They're not that big compared to the
and
US.
Mexico's got a lot of self-reliance and U.S. supply, and they have easy from China, easy from Europe. You can come in from.
Yeah, Mexico has, I think, the most free trade agreements in any country of the world. So you can, and they have good labor, very high skilled labor. So Mexico's a good place to open business and work there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's only been a couple of days in the new year, but I would agree. I think things seem like they've been busier. I know you've been busy on the sample front. People looking at R&D stuff, which is good. Still, that seems like it's going to continue to be a trend here in first quarter.
I would definitely say so. And even new development side, we've been extremely busy. So sourcing new products from all over. So yeah, that's been strong and solid. So looking forward to a robust 2023 with that.
What were the lab people doing this first half of the year?
Maybe they were on holiday. I don't know. I mean, it seems like they all of a sudden came out of the woodwork, and everyone's looking for sourcing different products and even offsets to material. Well, and that's the other thing, offsets to materials that they are having issues with getting that they need for production. So,
are they looking for like new technologies or like second sourcing or a mix of both?
I think it's a good mix of both, especially as people are pushing the sustainability front and trying to see how they can, make their formulations more, to adhere with the sustainability push that everyone is, on right now, and is going to continue to grow. I think that there's a good mix of, even the second source and making sure that their approved source of supplies are, solid across the board.
Yeah, I think the first half of the year was just a lot of scrambling. Just, your first three sourcing options or supply options were added materials. So now you got emergency approve number 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Even if it's just if you're approving a fourth source of DIMP, you just got to do those lab trials. It's just emergency approvals of things versus like strategic new stuff and sustainability and all that kind of stuff kind of takes a backseat when you can't get material from anywhere else. So
exactly, and you don't realize how many companies out there, especially larger, but their systems work where they have to have an approval for every single supplier, manufacturer in their system in order to place an order for that material. So I think that has driven a big push for them to be proactive in sourcing on their ends as well, to make sure that any option that they have available, if there is a big gap in supply from one area, they're covered in another. So it's nice to see the proactiveness. It is.
One big headline that we hadn't talked about, I think originally came out in December, and then I've seen some updated notes about this week, was potentially Brenntag and Univar joining forces, or Univar being taken over by Brenntag, whichever way it was potentially going. Obviously these are the number 1 and 2 chemical distributors in the world by sales. Brenntag's like $11 billion, Univar's like $5 billion. Saw yesterday that it sounds like those talks have halted for whatever reason. Sounds like Univar is still potentially open to other acquisitions, whether it means them being bought or purchasing other distributors and bringing them under their umbrella. But even though that doesn't look like it's moving forward, obviously showcases the significant M&A interest that's been over the past couple years in the chemical industry with, even kind of goes to show that even some of these kind of behemoths in the industry like Univar are not, out of the question of potentially being bought, sold, taken over. It was, I think when you first heard that, it was kind of crazy news. And then all of a sudden you started seeing the stories that it was a legitimate conversation. So
I didn't believe it at first.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
yeah,
I thought it was like the April Fools or something like that.
Yeah, we speculated. Well, I'd heard rumors and I'd put it out there in an email just saying, hey, I'm hearing rumors of, and everybody came back and they were like, that's no way, not a chance,
Yeah.
can't happen.
which we won't name names, but the person that originally said it, yeah, maybe that's true, maybe it's not true.
Yeah, suspect a little bit.
but a day later or whatever, the article started coming out, and
I would think it was like a week because there was definitely like a solid 5 days of banter about would it be approved,
Right.
would that merger be approved, and
That was a big question.
yeah,
It was-
well, Europe really would be. I mean, ExxonMobil. I mean, like we allow mega mergers here, but Europe is much more. They have rules and guidelines that they probably would create headwinds for such a large merger. But yeah, I mean, I think to your original point that nobody is free of discussions when it comes to M&A nowadays, because that's a strategy of most of our competition is growth by acquisition. So yeah, it's crazy, but it's ended, and I don't think I don't think the discussion will ever end. I think they always want to have this monster come together. They want to control the markets. Is really what it boils down to.
And just a reminder, we're not for sale.
Right. We are not.
We're not for sale. We're here
Yes.
for the long run. We're here for the employees and their families. Just making sure that's
correct. That's
TCC.
absolutely
My
true.
my son Joaquin will work here.
That's
one
right.
day, and I'm here to stay. So
your son Joaquin's gonna be your boss someday.
yeah.
But it doesn't mean we can't buy someone, Javier.
Yeah.
We could always buy somebody.
But we're not for sale.
Send the offers in. We'll take a look. But but no, not right now, and for the foreseeable future, we are not for sale. So we're really here to do the work. Ben.
Mhm.
That's what we're here for.
Yep.
And it's just so many little of us, because so many mergers and acquisitions. I mean, the family-owned or an operated business are just the rare kind
They are.
Yep.
They are.
nowadays.
Yeah. Well, we're having too much fun to end this run. So.
Couldn't agree more. Speaking of a couple specific industries, I know we heard a bunch about the construction industry and the automotive industry back to that Compounders Conference. A lot of strength expected, I think, in the construction industry, both for commercial, for residential. Obviously, Florida's recovering from a bunch of hurricanes here in the last couple months and last couple of years. So that's really driving a lot of construction activity and need for materials down in Florida. So that was I think a bright spot that came out of the Compounders Conference. That's I think an industry that's expected to keep growing, maybe pivot a little bit away from commercial and more towards residential as there's more work from home and consolidation, whatever you want to call it, and needing commercial space. But I think there's a lot of optimism for construction. I think we see it in our business that I think of all industries, maybe that's one that's remained steady at least. So
I thought that was an interesting presentation or part of the presentation. Yeah. We're still behind in housing builds for people that want it. So that's why you've seen such an increase in the value of real estate. And they're saying even into the future, 3 to 5 years, we're still going to be behind because there was such a massive dip in 2009-ish and then a recovery from there. But, we're definitely hearing from people that, people are going to Western Florida to find work at this point. So it's not necessarily across the country that it's robust. Around here, it still remains robust. I think along the coast will remain robust as people sort of the population moves towards the coast. Really interesting. And that's going to remain strong. And, natural disasters have become a massive impact on our industry because when they hit, they're monsters nowadays because there's been so much building going on. There's so much build up. And when there's an impact from a natural disaster right now, we've got, this massive amount of rain hitting California after 3 years of drought. I mean, that's going to be that's going to be some devastating things. But yeah, so it's nice to have a bright spot. I mean, automotive's not so bright. Coatings has not been so bright, but it should pick up with housing.
Yep.
All of the construction materials are certainly going to remain strong. So yeah, that's a bright spot for sure.
Yeah, it seems like the chip shortage was a hot topic kind of over the summertime, and I feel like I've heard a little bit less about it, but it seems like it's still a massive kind of handicap for the automotive industry. I know they're talking about building plants here, but that's 2, 3, 4 years out. So that seems like it's going to be a major restraint on the automotive industry kind of indefinitely until they can
I've
get
heard
that
there's
figured
a
out.
massive amount of chips now.
Yeah.
Yeah. From our logistics business and elsewhere, we've heard that there's warehouses full of chips.
Yep.
And just the demand's not there. And also you can't ship chips to Russia,
True.
so there's certain areas of the world, certain, people, certain, countries that aren't allowed to get these anymore. And that's taken a lot of the demand out. So,
Yep.
I don't think that's as much of an issue right now. And also, to me, it's kind of amazing to see how quickly people, or at least the industry, is moving toward electric cars. I mean, there's a lot less products in electric cars versus, petrol cars. So that's happening very rapidly too. And so that's going to impact demand overall into that, automotive sector.
There was one of the presentations at the Compounders Conference was on the automotive stuff, and it talked about electric vehicles, and it talked about the importance of like how much the cars weigh, which I thought was interesting. Like they basically need to remake all of the materials that go into electric cars because in a standard car they're too heavy.
Right.
So you need different panels, different drivetrains, different, even down to the wire and cable. You want as light of wire and cable as possible.
Different polymers is what it comes down to.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. It's something to think about, but you don't just take a gas engine out, put an electric engine in, and let it go. You got to redevelop the whole car. It's kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. We have a sponsored update by our partners at the Logistix Company. Speaking of freight, good timing. So we'll kick it over to TLC and see what's going on in the world of logistics. Morning, Joe. Morning, Jamie. How you guys doing?
Morning, Ben.
Morning, Ben. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Beat me to it. I've decided that today will be the last day I say Happy New Year anymore.
That's it.
Like it's done. Today's Wednesday. It's the 4th. Somebody said it should go through like Friday. Like, oh, you say Happy New Year until the first week of the year. Like, no, I'm done.
No,
Yeah,
Today's the end. How you guys doing? Had a good holiday, Christmas, New Year?
Christmas was
collectively?
great. Yeah, absolutely. New Year, the fam got the flu, so
Perfect.
we're fully recovered, thankfully. But it was a quiet and relaxing for the most part. New Year. How about you guys?
Did you make your way to Buffalo and get stuck in 7 feet of snow, or
No, thank
Didn't
God.
make the truck this year?
No, we did Buffalo for Thanksgiving, so we side skirted the blizzard of Christmas this year, which was we got plenty of pictures and
Absurd.
updates, and it was terrible.
Like,
So,
how much snow? Like, did whoever's still in Buffalo, your mother-in-law or parents, like, how much did they actually get? Like, what are we?
4 feet of snow.
It's ridiculous just even to say.
Yeah. By Buffalo standards, that's not terrible, but it came so quickly and the wind was just whiteout conditions that basically they pulled the plows, which I've never heard that happen before. And
Like, it was too bad the plows could even go out.
it was not safe for the plows to be out there. Yeah, you can imagine a 7-ton plow going down the road, not knowing where he's going. That could wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting hearing some of the stories. My buddy's dad, unfortunately, skidded off the road and was stuck in his car for 36 hours with one of his coworkers. So hearing some of the stories, it was pretty
Become best
wild.
friends.
Yeah, exactly. You coworkers, best friends, real quick in that scenario.
Crazy.
And yeah, it happened very quickly, but thankfully, friends, family, everybody turned out okay. So, and we're safe and sound here in Rhode Island. So
yeah, instead we're getting rain and it's 50 degrees here. Like, this is not January.
yeah,
It sucks.
I know.
How's the world of logistics these days? I know we're obviously coming off of Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving, which typically a slow time of year, and things may be kind of skewed off. And I know on the TCC side, we've kind of hit the ground running. It seems like this first week of January with stuff picking up, people obviously back to work. Are you guys seeing a pickup this week as well, or kind of a slow ramp back up in 2023 here? How's things looking for you guys?
I think it's starting to definitely pick back up. I think everybody was saying Q1 was going to be kind of the kickoff in especially dealing with so many of the chemical industry. I think a lot of people kind of take most of December to shut it down, and whether it's the plants manufacture themselves or the sales teams kind of coast into the new year. So I think everybody's scrambling to get back up again, and there's still stuff on the water that's arriving to ports and stuff that needs to get to where it's going. So we're definitely starting to pick back up again. We're hearing more requests out there, so it's promising for sure.
How's the logistics behind logistics? How's availability and truck availability and things like that been in general? You guys stuff still been opening up a bit, or has it gotten tighter?
Well, I'd say availability has been pretty good. I mean, with the holiday schedules, it's always tough to, get things lined up perfectly. But to the point of, the week before Christmas and the week before New Year's, the last 2 weeks, basically, for us. I mean, usually the market is slow, and this year really wasn't any different. As Joe mentioned, like this week, even just coming back into the office this week, things are certainly picking back up, which we tend to see. There's a little bit of a lag even, coming in after New Year's, which it's not out of the ordinary, but, things are picking back up. So it should ramp up even a bit more, going into next week.
Yep.
Availability still looks pretty good across the board. Not too many issues getting things moved. From the rail side, that has been the biggest issue, I think, the last month or so, probably going back to about Thanksgiving, just slow communication from railroads, slow service. And, the federal boards, the transportation boards are getting a little involved on that, trying to help out where they can.
You chalk some of that up to the talks about like the strikes and labor unions, or people taking time off with holidays and trying to manage actually having people in the office to move some of this stuff, or maybe a little bit of everything?
I'd say probably a little bit of everything. I know there are some railroads, like I think Union Pacific is one, but there are some, trying to play with their schedules as far as who, how many train operators they have on a train. I think some of them are trying to figure out how to do it with one operator per train.
Yep.
To try and, keep things moving with less people on them, which would be great in theory. We'll see how that works out, because it seems like a lot for one person to do, but we'll see.
Well, probably goes back to the truck driver shortage and some of the ways they're trying to get more drivers, decreasing the age, the minimum age to get a CDL and whatnot, which again sounds good in theory, but you're putting even younger and younger people on the road, maybe not so great, maybe less experience and whatnot. So a lot of things people trying to do to help with availability, which is obviously the right conversations to be having, but just a matter of how that actually all shakes out.
And the actual practical use. Yeah, I mean, the driver shortage is something that has been at the forefront of logistics complications from forever.
Yep.
I mean, at this point, it's, not going away. So any creative, thought process we can try and put out there, I think is well worth trying to execute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, to Joe's point, like logistics, the driver shortage, that's been around for a while. But I think now we're starting to see, the employment shortages in other sectors. It's kind of just across the board at this point, where we have less workers than we need right now. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, just looking at population metrics.
Yeah. How about the dollars and cents side of things? I think we saw the fuel surcharges are trickling back down, which is good news. I know obviously gas prices have come down a bit, which hopefully will help with some logistical costs.
Yeah, I mean, recent update, December was one of the lowest pricing months that truckers have seen in quite a while. I know we've discussed it before. They can only go so low before a trucker's just going to sit, and try and take a local run rather than doing anything long haul.
Yep.
But again, that's promising for regulating back to, 2020, late 2020 through 2021 pricing, where it was nosebleed pricing everywhere you saw. And it was just, hey, I've got a truck in hand. Do you want it or not? I think this is at least kind of correcting a little bit of that. So 2023 should see that potentially normalize through the first half, I would say. And I don't know that it can go much lower. And that might be an indication of where the economy itself is going, which hopefully is not the case.
How about on the rails? Is stuff getting more expensive, less expensive? Is it kind of stagnant? Are there any big changes on rail costs coming into this year that you've seen?
Well, so the big thing that a lot of people are working around is, insurance requirements and things like that. So those costs, I mean, from what I've seen, insurance costs tend to be going up. The actual rail freight, I would say rail freight's pretty stagnant right now. It's kind of plateaued. It's not really coming down, but usually, I mean, we always talk about, logistics being a reactionary type market. It's not quite as, it's not quite as leading as, the chemical market or anything like that, because it kind of just reacts to what those markets do. So rail is even more reactionary because rail, even your fuel surcharges and things are, 3 months behind what the schedule is. They just go off of the historic numbers. So like right now we're working off of, I believe it's October fuel prices for rail. So
Got it.
Rail's always going to lag behind a little bit. I think it's pretty much plateaued. I think we may see it come down a little, but rail prices normally don't come down much.
That insurance piece, are there new insurance requirements for 2023, or is it just insurance costs in general are going up?
It's primarily insurance costs in general going up, but there are some requirements on, flammable liquids and things like that we've run into across the board that just some car leasing companies, some railroads, different parts of, Canada, different countries and things like that require different insurance levels.
A good time to get with your logistics partners or department and make sure all your insurances are in line and good to go for the year.
Absolutely. And I think that's what separates, TLC and in general is we always have our T's crossed and our I's dotted. We definitely do our due diligence when it comes to all of that and making sure that our customers and their freight is always insured to the max and gives them the peace of mind in that regard.
I'm glad you said that correctly because in my head I said like T's dotted and I's crossed. So I'm glad you said that the correct way.
Took me a second, but we made sure we get there.
But we're past Christmas, we're past New Year's, we're past Thanksgiving, which means looking forward to some travel, I think, as well, coming up here soon.
Yeah, the conferences are going to be stacking up here in another couple months, so we'll be back out on the road, traveling, hitting it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be fun. Getting some new customers, meeting with existing customers, so good time of year.
Beautiful. Well, appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate the partnership and obviously the ongoing logistics updates. So I'm sure we'll have you on another episode here soon and talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ben. And as always, go Bills.
Thanks, Ben.
Moving on, January/winter seasonal products, featured products. Talking a little bit about pricing and things like that. What's going on with products these days? Anything? Obviously, we're, I guess, sort of in the middle of winter, although it's rainy and dreary out. We haven't had a drop of snow yet. So I don't know if you really call it winter, but obviously looking at some of those seasonal winter products, methanol, glycols have been a hot topic and picking up the last month or two.
Yeah, November was methanol was our highest volume product, not in dollars because it's cheap, but it was, we had a lot of Q4, November, December, we had a lot of snow, ice, rain, mixture. So methanol demand really popped at that time. So, and glycols kicked in right there too with the, a bit of certainly not the demand we've seen in the past for downhole or antifreeze and things like that. But so glycol was there, and then there's obviously some de-icing products that we have that's sort of moving along. So the commodities are doing pretty well. The seasonal commodities are doing well.
One thing that I didn't add in the beginning, which we definitely should probably talk about, is obviously some of the tariff exemptions getting continued. Our resident tariff expert, AJ Petrarca, would be happy to report happy to report on this.
I am no way, shape, or form any expert, but no, we did hear that the tariffs are extended, or the tariff exemption will be extended, I believe to September 2023 that they announced. So, if you're buying products that fall into the exemption now, that's going to continue until September 2023. So that's a good thing. Less mess.
Yeah, 25% less mess.
Yeah. But it's just messy because there's potentially rebates, but you don't really know where you stand with
And if you don't apply on time, you don't get them. They eliminate them, and it's up to them whether they want to give it or not.
Right.
So it is messy.
But that's good news. Obviously, I think the biggest product that it affects for us is obviously dicey. So obviously a relatively expensive product that the 25% certainly didn't help with any pricing. So that's obviously a relief to a lot of our customers and customers in general buying dicey, that the exemptions got extended.
Yeah, and it just so happens that, as soon as that announcement happened, the dicey prices popped in China. So I don't know if that was, by design.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see the effects of things, but yeah.
I mean, it's important to point out that that's an exemption, so they're free of the tariff. Most of what we're still bringing from our offices in China still has a 25% duty on top of, tariff on top of duty. And interestingly, we were communicating with our office prior to, shutting down a couple days for Christmas. Really not much, we didn't shut down too much, but it was interesting to hear our manager say that everyone there was sick. They said up to 1 billion people were sick with COVID. And this was just weeks after they stopped the COVID shutdown. And she was hoping that things would recover in about a month. But I I don't think we were getting the full scale of the massive spread that's happened and the blunt ending and how that's the one thing I'll say about, I guess the one good thing I'll say about the vaccines. I don't have much good to say about them, but what I will say is they slowly progressed us into building antibodies, I think, more than anything, and building up resistance and protecting those that are really infirm, and have other problems. But that was so blunt. They were just like, boom, it was like,
yeah.
It was a matter of a week. Like, we get a message from our office saying that they lifted the travel restrictions in China, and then a week later there was 1 billion people locked down. It was like that quickly of a
1 billion people sick.
Yeah.
It was crazy. We were just, and it was. I forwarded it to the whole company because I was like, this is insane. Like, just imagine what And luckily the strain itself isn't as powerful as the OG strain, that came out of Wuhan, but. Yeah, it was interesting also to see over Christmas that people were out celebrating in defiance of even at that time protocols that were in place. They just wanted to, and then to hear about the travel.
Oh man.
Yeah, they are traveling crazy. Macau's back open, the gambling's open, everything's open. It's like, what a stark change, and that was so fast.
And all that's been coupled with energy prices staying high in Europe and Asia, which I think we were talking about back to dicey, and some of the production was required to shut down for a while because raw material prices were so high. So it's kind of a bit of a storm of potential supply disruption, seems like, in Q1.
Yeah, we were hearing that China was going to limit electricity consumption for January and February just with the high demand season in their winter. So that's affecting, things like dicey that are very energy intensive to manufacture. So we are starting to see prices pop a little bit, with that and some increased demand. So
freight rate's still a lot better though, right? That's not trickling back up. The container prices have stayed.
Yeah, that's been flat to down maybe a little bit. There hasn't been much talk on container rate movement, but it's been less of a topic of conversation, which is a good thing.
We'll have to go back to like the 2 years ago episodes where it's like we did an episode, it was 8,000, then it was 14,000, it was 18,000. Like it's crazy that was what we were talking about. Speaking to energies a little bit, kind of tracking raw materials, tracking oil, gas, things are pretty down for the last I guess 30, 45 days since our last recording. Oil's kind of tracked down $10 a barrel or so. Big drop in nat gas. Nat gas was in the $6.50 range last recording we had. Now sitting in the $4 range in the US at least. So things definitely trickling down a bit. We were talking a little bit this morning about starting to look at ammonia prices, which I think is a good thing to mention. Ammonia prices down $55 per ton or so, which obviously impacts a lot of different products that we oversee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good indicator for the general fertilizer market. That's one of the products that folks have expected to come down a lot more. Like before the run up, like ammonia right now is $9.75 per ton. Before the run up, it was in the 300s. So people are expecting that to be lower than it is, but blaming it mainly on Russia and their impact on the global fertilizer supply demand situation. So we'll see where it goes.
And that was even higher, right? It was, what was it, $1,100, $1,200, even more maybe?
At its highest, it was up to $16.25, I think. That was back in like April. That was like at the peak Russia hysteria type time frame.
Yeah,
so it has come down quite a bit, but it's still got, some more room to go, I think, to hit the floor.
Yep. So despite, oil, gas coming down, seems like prices are mostly flat coming into January. Even though raw materials are coming down, I think we talked in December as well, there just wasn't as much demand to support decreases really. I mean, maybe seeing some competitive situations here and there with some stuff coming off, but usually for the most part, a lot of products are relatively flat coming to January.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, we just hit a warm patch here, so that's pushed natural gas prices down even further. That's not going to last. It's going to get cold again.
Yep.
The price cap on Russian oil, you know, $60. That's you know, that's had some impact. You know, so places like India and China are getting great deals right now as you know, as they're trying to find new homes for their oil and gas. You know, the impact on petrochemical pricing has been you know, mute, because it's really only like a 10% change. You know, when you look at these things, people are like, wow, you know, natural gas is down and oil's down. Well, it's going up and down, up and down. It's never really, you know, it's settling down month over month only slightly. You know, it's not massive change, and we expect as soon as things are, you know, we're now exporting from Texas to Europe. The first cargoes just arrived in Germany. They really quickly built a port to receive U.S. natural gas. We expect the energies to increase. We expect demand to increase in China. And I think that's why, you know, oil right now is a little soft, is because there's that, you know, hysteria now. It was a Russia hysteria, but now the hysteria that the demand isn't picking up. China's not picking up quick enough, you know, so overall demand isn't, well, it will. It'll pick up, you know, and so I'm still, you know, feeling that, you know, bullish that energies will increase, and petrochemical prices have hit a floor at this point.
Yep.
Overall.
So we've been talking about the Compounders Conference a lot, which is, I think, good. Obviously, sort of shows the importance, especially shows like that are a lot more informational based. There's a lot to learn and just kind of hear what's going on in the industry. So looking forward to kicking off the new year with a couple trade shows. We'll be at the World of Concrete show later this month, and then we're looking at the Chemicals America. Is it even called Chemicals America anymore? Is it just the SOCMA trade show?
I've lost track. I can't.
So it is officially SOCMA.
Okay.
Yes. So I think people still they cross-refer to it as Chemicals America, but yes, this is the SOCMA show that's in Nashville, Tennessee. It's
formerly the Chemicals America Fort Worth version.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. So for those who previously attended as that, yeah. So
confusing.
It is confusing, and especially since the contexts are slightly different, but will refer you to one another. It's like, whoa, okay, you still have it's very interesting, but I'm just glad that I'm involved in it after. So I guess my, you know, it's a little more differentiated. But yeah, so we have a booth there. So come visit TCC. We've got a handful of us attending. AJ, Ben, myself, and Corey Mullins will be down there. So yeah, so it'll be a fun time. We've got a full day of the show on, I believe it's March 2nd, right? So yeah, we've got, like I said, a booth there. Come see us. We're looking forward to it. And yeah, it should be a good show to kind of kick the year off after you guys go down to Vegas.
And obviously, New Year's usually has us hit the ground running with AFPM planning.
Of course. Well, New Year's, Ben, that's no.
Not that we haven't been talking about it.
I was going to say, we start AFPM planning, like almost a year in advance.
Yep.
But yeah, so we're super excited for another fantastic year in San Antonio. Come visit
put a little invite thing right here, George.
Yep, we've got.
Using my hands today.
So yeah, we have our golf outing, our cocktail party, but most importantly, we're looking forward to meeting with each and every one of our customers, suppliers, producing partners, and we already have meetings in the schedule lined up. So it's fantastic. We have registrations for both the cocktail and golf events, but you know, like I said, the meetings, it's great to see the schedule already filling up. So make sure you send a note to TCC Events at thechemco.com. And we also have our thechemco.com/AFPM website, which is going to be on that graphic that George has on the screen right now as well. So yeah, please come visit, register, sign up to meet with us. We're excited to see each and every one of you in San Antonio, March 25th through the 29th.
You guys think you're ready for it?
I think we're going to see more Europeans and folks from Asia this year. So yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to seeing people that I haven't seen the last 3 years. So yeah, definitely. It's always a great event.
Yeah, it sounds like there's been a lot of that, like, oh yeah, I'm planning to go, and XYZ's coming from Europe, versus in past years, it's just been like, are you going at all? So
right.
I agree. I think it'll be.
I mean, the global reshuffling is definitely means we should meet. We need to talk. You know, so things have to be better planned and hashed out for you know, if the current geopolitical and war and everything continues, we've got a lot to talk about.
Agreed. Should be a good week down there.
Definitely will be.
Wrapping things up with some TCC news. Obviously, just getting past the Christmas season, which has been great. I know we've had some. We missed our company dinner, but we're doing that tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll have our. Looking forward to get together, everybody.
Beast.
I haven't been to Plum Point since I think we went once with like Ray or something. Like when I first started, it's the only time I've ever been there.
They've been
I'm excited to go back.
totally renovated. We got our own room and everything. Yeah, it's gonna be really nice.
Nice.
I was talking to our mutual friend Danny last night. It's his favorite restaurant in the state right
I
now.
know he loves it. Yeah, it's favorite in the state.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah.
Coming from Danny, that means a lot.
He's a connoisseur of restaurants, and but he knows a good thing when he finds it. That's for sure.
Caitlin and the customer service team really did a great job putting together a donation for, I think we sponsored one family with 3 or 4 young kids, and we're able to sponsor them for the Christmas season and give clothes and toys and gift cards and whatnot to that family in Rhode Island. And I believe Javier went to Providence and dropped the packages off. So.
Yeah, I had some free time.
Yeah, I know. We know.
Conveniently around the World Cup match.
Exactly. No one ever volunteers to go up to Providence, right? It's always the running joke is I drive all over the state, and Javi's like, I'll go.
I was like, nope.
Yeah. We all looked at each other like, really? Okay.
It's nice to have him back to work, after the World Cup holiday.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, that was a great donation, great effort by the TCC team putting that together. And I know there's pictures on our social media pages.
People that
and
were very happy, very pleased because we hit everything on their list and we weren't supposed to. So they were very happy, very thankful, appreciative.
It was really, really nice. Everybody was super giving.
Yeah, everywhere was very generous. So yeah, that was very nice.
And on a podcast note, we're doing our Q1 episode with Kathy Hall. We'll be recording that and launching it likely in the next week or so. So we had her on as the Q4 episode, and we're looking forward to having her on as a frequent quarterly guest. Both her insights and the way she tracks some of these raw materials and the data that she provides us to create graphs and charts and whatnot is exciting. So looking forward to having her back on and have her on throughout 2023. She's a wealth of knowledge between the podcast. And I think you guys saw her in person. Did you go to the Racemics thing?
Yep, at Racemics, she was a speaker and absolutely phenomenal. And she's also going to be a guest speaker at our Chem Club of New England event as well. So yeah, that's in February. So Kathy Hall, she's
awesome.
She is. She's so enthusiastic. That might be why we get along so well. Our personalities kind of mirror each other. So
you enthusiastic? I don't know about that. But no, looking forward to having Kathy on. I think that sort of wraps things up for our combo December-January episode. You guys have any New Year's resolutions that we need to put on the record to chase you back 12 months from now and make sure they came true?
Not me.
Nothing.
I don't do resolutions.
Hobby resolution?
No.
Nothing? You gotta give me something.
No. Work hard.
Work hard.
Just a path of continuous improvement.
Exactly.
Nothing changed. Just continuing.
Try to be a better person.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
Can't wait to see what that path looks like. I'm looking forward to it.
All good things.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Well, as always, we appreciate you for listening. Whether you're catching some of the clips or watching the video version or the audio version, hopefully you're watching the video version. You send Javi a WhatsApp.
Yeah, please WhatsApp me.
Please send someone a WhatsApp.
WhatsApp me.
But as always, we appreciate you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for streaming the View from Jamestown podcast edition.
Like and subscribe for more.